So this is just another kind of one of them Halloweeny videos as we're getting into the season. Yes, I expect a lot of them, obviously. And this one's just like, how would you kind of scent your Halloween costume? Obviously it's one of these times of year that's highly exploited and commercialised. You know, usual capitalist exploitation and draining all of the fun and all of the enjoyment and all of the actual spirit, purpose and meaning out of a festival, so that you can extract as much money from people as humanly possible, and kind of make them buy loads of plastic crap which destroys the entire world. You know, your usual kind of a festival in the West. Anyway, it's obviously one of my favourite times of the year. I do get swept in spirit sometimes, I suppose, and I've taken my young nephews and little niece out and stuff. I may have dressed up as well before. I suppose it's all fun if you don't overthink what all this means anyway. So it's just kind of scenting the kind of Halloween costumes of the time. So first up is a fairly obvious one. A lot of people dress up as ghosts, whether it's with white makeup on or fluorescent glowy kind of makeup that makes you look really eerie and what have you, or whether it's just a bed sheet over your head. Now ghosts, obviously the idea of that comes from ghosts, which we're not going to get into this because I'm going to upset people. I don't believe in ghosts. I think the human eye makes sense of things we can't understand. And if ghosts really existed, where are the ghost cows? Where are the ghost cats? Where are the ghost eagles? Where are the ghost dinosaurs? Anyway, I'm not, like I said, I'm not going to get into this. And I think the kind of, this is going to be really short by the way, I think the best fragrance to kind of scent a ghost is Bois d'Argent from Dior, which is a kind of silvery shadow fragrance, if you like. It's like walking through here, it's like piney and it's lovely and it's sweet and it's calm and it's gentle, and then there's a silver kind of light from the what's it called, the iris, and it just creates this kind of beautiful silver woods. I mean, that's what the name means, isn't it? And it's very enjoyable, it's very light, it's very almost effervescent and glowy and what have you, like a ghost. So that's Bois d'Argent for a ghost costume. And then we have the highly offensive witch costumes that go around this time of year as well, which are normally green, hideous looking things, I suppose based on the Witch of the West. Obviously, let's remember witches were just great science women, great healers, very intelligent women of the past, who, if you know, they'd have done all the things that they did and they were men, they would be called wizards, healers, you know, positive things. But because they were women, and how can women have such intelligence and power, they were witches anyway. So yeah, kind of weird greeny kind of costume with warts and all of this jazz. And what I think kind of matches that kind of whole thing very well is Fawn from Thomas O'Brien. And this is it's kind of, yeah, it's like a light foresty kind of fragrance just at this time of year, like you saw the leaves fall in there, you know, the crows above, this kind of smell of green that you can't smell through the foam, but it's yeah, moist, kind of starting to die and decay kind of. It doesn't smell decaying, by the way, but you know what I mean, that smell. And it's just one that I think would suit a witch costume. That's Fawn from Thomas O'Brien. Then another popular one is of course Little Red Riding Hood. Although there are a lot more kind of, you do tend to see a more adult version of that nowadays, let's say. Obviously we know Little Red Riding Hood came from that tale where, well, actually the Grimm tale's much different to the tale we know, so we'll stick with that one. She's obviously walking through the woods off to see a grandma. A wolf pretends to be a grandma, she's saved by a woodcutter, blah 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 blah. Anyway, obviously in this basket for Grandma she's got loads of goodies, and she'll no doubt pick up some more goodies as she walks through the forest. But what I've gone for is a honey fragrance, and that's Journey from Amouage. And I think this is like a red, it's in a red bottle, so you're gonna smell it red, but it's got osmanthus, I think it might have a touch of rose, some other florals in there, and there's this kind of smooth but darker honey. It's not heavy, and there's quite a touch of spice, and there's incense in it, and it gives that whole kind of mysterious redness, that red hue, which obviously suits Little Red Riding Hood perfectly. So that's Amouage's Journey Woman for Little Red Riding Hood. And next is the Devil. This is a good one to follow on from, really, which is generally people either wearing little red horns of very skimpy outfits, men and women, with a little poker stick. It's just very red, it's very playful and very fun. And obviously, as we know, the Devil was, you know, quite misunderstood. Perhaps not as bad as history made him out to be. Anyway, whatever. We all know the stupid naff devil costumes. I'm sure I've wore devil's ears before. Horns, what am I talking about, ears? Yeah, and it's a playful, fun, red outfit, generally speaking, isn't it? So I've gone for Killian's Love Don't Be Shy, which is a very kind of red fragrance. It's quite fluffy and playful. It's got the orange blossom, this kind of actual marshmallowy fluffiness about it, in with that dark redness. There's musks, there's a little bit of the old neroli in there, which gives it just a kind of, it stops it being too sickly or whatever. You don't really smell it. And also, I believe there's supposed to be in the older version civet. You don't openly really smell that, but there is a warmth in the base, and so I suppose that could be there. So yeah, for a devil outfit is Love Don't Be Shy from. Next we kind of have mummies, which is obviously from the process of the ancients, which they used to wrap their undead in bandages or some sort of balm to kind of preserve the bodies, to help their bodies be sort of intact when they went through to the next life. And obviously from that, you know, kind of nonsense coming from imperialists robbing Egyptian tombs, kind of said, you know, some of them came alive and chased after them and what have you. So that kind of costume idea comes from that, and it's generally just people wrapped in bandages, I suppose. And I've gone for the most obvious one you can for that, and that's from Papillon, and that's called Anubis, which is a kind of dry, spicy, sandy, resinous one, like the smell of old incense in tombs, and the dry air and the dry spice of it all. It's quite a lovely fragrance, actually. And I really don't need to waffle on. What else would suit a mummy but Anubis? So that's Anubis from Papillon for mummy. Next we have quite a weird one, I think. Just because I'm not scared of something doesn't mean I get other people are. But clowns. Don't really know where a fear of clowns comes from, apart from Stephen King's It. Did this only appear in whenever he wrote that, 60s, 70s, 80s? I don't know. And then all of a sudden people were scared of clowns with axes and stuff, and there was some stupid trend of people dressing up as clowns and jumping out on people a few years ago. Whatever does it for kids, really, innit? Got naught better to do with their lives. But yeah, clown costumes, which, you know, can be quite elaborate, quite gruesome looking, and what have you, like a kind of Pennywise clown, or someone just wearing a red nose and a wig. It's that kind of costume, isn't it? What I've gone for that is Almaz from Kajal, because it smells like a kind of fruit salad, 10p mix up bag of sweets. It's obviously more mature than that, and I suppose that adds to it's adults dressing as clowns, isn't it? It's got some quite nice woodiness and muskiness about it, but it is, I suppose it's a memory of your childhood with them lovely sweet fruits and that kind of thing. And it suits a clown, because I don't know why I associate clowns with sweets. Maybe this is something coming from my childhood that I've suppressed or something or other. Best not think about that. So for clowns is Almaz from Kajal. Yes, Kajal. Next, what is obviously becoming more popular in popular culture is anime characters. I can't think of a specific anime character to kind of go with it. Should we go with, I don't know, Pikachu? I don't know why I've picked Pikachu. It's the only one I can think of. I'm not very down with this modern culture, let's be fair. And people will dress up as all these sort of Japanese colourful anime characters, and some of them are quite can be quite scary looking and what have you. Pikachu's not. Let's call him Pikachu with blood dripping from his mouth or whatever. I have never seen anyone dressed as Pikachu ever. Whatever, don't judge me, right? And what I think will be a kind of good fragrance for this is because it's modernity, isn't it? It's a modern world. It's a representation of the way things are going, and Halloween will probably end up being, as we forget the older stories and the older characters, things like anime. So I've gone for Maison Francis Kurkdjian's Gentle Fluidity Silver. Now this is predominantly, they both have the same notes but they smell different because of the different what have you. But they smell silver obviously, and it's the juniper running through it that I think gives it this silveriness. There's other stuff in there as well. Is there iris in both? It would make sense for that to actually be the case. Again, you know, I don't plan these overly well with the notes. I only tell you what I can smell from things, don't I? But it smells silver. It's a little bit sharp. It's very clean. It's like a stainless steel surface. That's what makes me think of technology, that kind of sterilised silver wires and silver surfaces kind of thing. And I think that will kind of suit an anime character. So for an anime character, which for no reason at all I picked Pikachu and none of this makes any sense, is Maison Francis Kurkdjian's Gentle Fluidity Silver. And finally is a werewolf, isn't it? There is someone missing from this, and there's a reason I'm trying not to mention this person in most of my Halloween videos. That's because that's my main Halloween video and it's going to be very, very long. So I'm just not going to mention him. But anyway, wolves. Werewolves, that kind of thing. Werewolves are very ancient and stuff, but in popular culture they've kind of been put with vampires for some apparent reason. Anyway, this is just blokes walking around with their hairy chests out, or women with little wolf ears and men with little wolf ears and whatnot. And it's I think wolves are beautiful. I don't particularly find them scary. I won't mess with one. I don't think, well, the pack animals, so if you show some, they'd tear to pieces, wouldn't they? But yeah, anyway, what I've picked for wolves is, I didn't want something, you know, too scary, too dark or whatever, because again I see them as being quite friendly. It's Coco from Chanel, and this is because it's got that, it's in the old days anyway, it used to have, did it have civet castoreum? There's a little bit of a furry kind of lovely warmth to there. And there's also the cloves, which is kind of the main note, and the vanilla, which does make you think of like a fur skin kind of thing, and a kind of comforting hug from a wolf or whatever. So yeah, that's my reasoning and rationale behind picking Coco for wolves. So yeah, obviously this was just a very short, fun one. I have so many ideas for this time of year, and some of them are just so long and what have you. With me doing a really long video, I wanted to do some shorter, more flippant, more fun ones around it. I can't help it, there can't just be one, it's me. Anyway, I don't know what I'm waffling on about. What are you dressing up as this year? How would you scent these costumes? What would you wear if you were wearing little devil horns and what have you? Alright folks, that's it really, isn't it? Thanks for watching, bye.